for the scar. Hi. It's the 8th of April, 2024, episode 297 of the Should I Play This Game podcast. Them boys are back for another week of talking about video game stuff. Yay! So last week didn't have a podcast. We were going to do it Easter Monday. Graham, you got busy.
Yep.
Which, hey, real life happens.
Yep.
So I did a Easter Monday version of Friday Night Fun.
That's confusing.
Another 4 hours. Whoops. Man, I played. There were some games in there that I thought, I'm just going to look at them for this. I'm not going to play them again. And then, god damn it, they took over the back half of my week. But we'll get to that. I have put on, I think you, out of maybe some other people, might appreciate the audacity of some of the bets I've put on for basketball-related activities. I got 3 bets going, Graham. Well, no, not anymore. I got 2 now. One's dead. I have $10 on Iowa to win the women's NCAA tournament.
Is that the game is that the team? I don't follow.
Caitlin Clark. Okay. Yes, it is.
I was just going to say, just as long as you've chosen that team, then you might have a fighting chance. If you chose the other one, I think you're an idiot. But okay.
Oh yeah, no, no. They're paying $4, so I might get $40 back off that. They're through to the championship game, so that's something. That
seems awfully generous odds for them. I thought they'd be almost like a purity favourite at this point. Maybe I've not been.
No, NC State like $1.18, and UConn were maybe $1.90, $2.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
I put this is my most audacious and stupid one, which has now since failed. I put $10 on NC State in the men's side. They were paying $18, and they have since lost to the number 1 ranked Purdue. I don't follow college basketball almost at all, so I just thought, hey, $18, this would be funny if it comes in, and it didn't. And I've got $10 on Victor Wembanyama becoming the Defensive Player of the Year. That's paying $10 because Rudy Gobert is paying $1 for some stupid reason, despite Victor Wembanyama having way more blocks. I don't know. What say you?
I can't comment on this at all because I don't follow this sport at all. So you're on your own with this one.
I thought you might have some sort of opinion on my gambling on this one.
Not on that level of detail, no.
Okay, fair enough.
I just think Steph Curry's a good player.
Steph Curry's pretty good. He's pretty good, bro.
That's as much as my knowledge goes. And LeBron ain't too bad either. Beyond that,
if I sound a little different for those on the audio version, I got a new headset.
I didn't know.
Audio Technica.
Okay.
I pointed it out. Boomps. God damn it. Fuck you. The Audio Technica MTH M50X STS Stream Set headset.
They should get a bit of convention on that.
Yep. So they took the M50 head studio headset, added a 20 series microphone to it, which apparently is USB quality microphone. And that's what I'm talking through. Apparently, the microphone sounds really good. There is an XLR version that apparently sounds way better. But, I'm not buying an XLR setup. Fuck that.
No.
And I bought some other things that are in the various processes of rocking up. And I've got this new controller, Graham. New controller.
It's just an Xbox. It's just an Xbox controller.
It's not just an Xbox one. It's a Chinese company called GameSir, G7.
So it's not even the actual Xbox controller. It's just an Xbox.
No. So it's got mechanical buttons, apparently Hall effect triggers, and an anti-friction ring on the stick things. It doesn't have Hall effect sticks. They do have a Hall effect version of that controller, but it doesn't have mechanical buttons. So I'm like, bugger it, I'm getting this. And I did. Mm-hmm. Yay me. Anyway. Anything else? Anything you'd like to chirp in before we get to talk about video game stuff?
Nah, not really.
Sweet. How about you bring up your games, and we'll talk about video games.
Here we go.
Because I know there's at least a little bit of consistency between your list and mine.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, more than fact than I would than normally happens.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking during the week about a couple of games that I think came onto our radar, or my radar, out of sort of left field. One of them is this game called Manic. We'll come back to that one because yeah, it's on Steve's list as well. Satisfactory. I'm back into that. I put up episode 17 of the video of Solar Factory during the week, and we'll keep playing that through. Probably, yeah. I mean, I don't know when I'll stop, but we'll see.
Has there been much outlining of what 1.0 is going to be, or anything like? Have they said anything about that yet, or nothing yet?
No detail because they're still planning it. But they plan to do it this year. It'll have some form of lore / story, but they're not saying it's particularly expansive or anything. It's not like you've got to, fetch 10 of these like an actual story sort of thing. I suspect that what they'll do though is they'll keep going with the requirements to feed the space elevator, which was what the game had up until. And I'd managed to get that level. What was it? God, what was it? Level 4, I think, of the space. Phase 4 of the project, I think is what it was, if I recall. The terminology they used was the last thing that I completed that phase, and there's been nothing since then. So I suspect I'll just add more to that, whether it be 1, 2, 3. I have no idea what that'll ultimately be. I don't think it's going to be that much because if they create more requirements for that, they'll have a lot more items they've got to make. They've got to create the items and the recipes and all that kind of stuff, and that leads to balance issues and stuff like that. So I can't imagine it being too expensive, not too expensive, too expansive in terms of the number of levels and the number of machine parts produced per phase. But don't know. So yeah, that's really where they're at the moment, and there's no time frame for it. So yeah, it is what it is. Horizon Forbidden West came out on PC about 2 weeks ago now. That game, I think you and I have discussed it maybe in a video. I can't remember where we discussed it. Maybe we discussed it I think we've discussed it at some point. Maybe not.
We did a checkout of your progress in the PS5 version. I got my PS5 that had this as a pack-in for it. And then I played through it. I finished it, partly because I got COVID just after I got that. So I basically played this while in the time I had COVID. And you basically got either burned out or had moved on to do other things.
Yep.
And now have picked back up on the PC version.
Yeah, pretty much. And I thought we discussed a bit of the PC version, because this is obviously new to both of us, is that it's come out on PC.
We talked about that off camera, off stream, off video.
I thought we did. Yeah, I can't remember when we did it. Yeah. But anyway. So it's come out. It's been put out by Sony and all sorts of stuff, but it's been actually ported by Nixus.
That's Sony's in-house PC port team.
And it's really, really bloody solid. Up until recently, I was getting constant 16 running at 4K. My TV doesn't have HD. Well, it does, but I don't use it on. So yeah, it's just running really, really solid. But yeah, the last session I had, I was getting some bad frame rates in some parts of the game, so I'm not too sure what's caused that.
That's weird.
But other than that, it's been absolutely rock solid in terms of I've had one crash, and yeah, an incredibly solid 60 frames at 4K. No stuttering, no nothing. It's just been rock solid, which I think that sort of that Nix's group are right on their game when it comes to this stuff. Porting those console games across to PC, they are absolutely brilliant at it. Which I think also maybe that's just PCs and consoles are now pretty close architecture-wise. It's probably not that quote unquote difficult to port a game over, but you still got to give them credit when they get it right, because some people don't do about a console or at least get it fucking so wrong. So
Well, there was Last of Us Part 1 that came out fucked.
Yeah, so
like hard fucked, and was Nixus behind that one as well?
I don't think they were. I think that was done by Naughty Dog. I think that was a Naughty Dog in-house. I think from memory, but yeah, don't quote me.
Because every other PlayStation 5 game that's come over to PC has been really good as a port. Ghost of Tsushima comes out in about 6 weeks.
Yeah, so I probably won't. I would like to play that one, but it'll be too close to genre for this one, so I won't probably for a while.
I'm waiting for Demon's Souls. I want the PS5 version of Demon's Souls on PC.
Yeah, so it's like, I won't really comment on the game itself because I think it's probably well known at this point. But just to say, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm really back into it. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I just probably wasn't in the mood for that type of game at that point when it came out.
I think there were other things that either came up or you were playing other things, and because this has a fucking big scope and size to it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've put in close to 30 hours so far, and I'm about a third of the way through it. So it's a 100-hour game to play. But yeah, thoroughly enjoying it. And as I said,
are you using the DualSense on PC?
No, hell no. Okay. I don't like the controller at all. I don't like the PlayStation 5. The PlayStation controller in general is a big turn off for me. So I'm playing just on the standard Xbox Elite controller. We've done 2 Lightyear Frontier videos. Yes, we have.
Check out of Lightyear Frontier and the return of Picking Rocks, Digging Holes.
Yeah, I mean, and the other game we've got is Super Video Golf. Now, all those, so Maniac, Lightyear Frontier, and Super Video Golf are the 3 games across our lists.
I actually didn't put Super Video Golf on mine. I only played it briefly on this most recent Friday show because I played it briefly. I'm like, fuck, we need to do something with this.
We'll try and do something with it. So yeah, so those 3 games are crossover. Let's go back to the first crossover game, which is
Maniac.
So Maniac is a top-down, essentially originally like a homage to the original Grand Theft Auto game from...
Yeah, it's GTA 1 as a roguelike.
Basically. It's awesome. It's really freaking good. Yeah. It's really good. We'll probably do some videos on it in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully our schedules align to do that. But yeah, so the mechanics are you obviously played longer. I think you've played up nearly 8 hours. I think I looked at it on. Was it 8 hours?
I've got 2 more of the characters. I've got all of the characters unlocked.
Okay. Yep.
And I need to finish it now with 2 of them.
Okay.
I finished it with 4 of the 6.
Yep.
It's super. Like they did some really, really smart things in adapting that GTA 1 style for this specific game. This was one of the games I played on the Easter Monday, Friday Night Fun, and I actually end up. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'll give it a look. It seems okay. And by the end of that, I played it for like an hour. I'm like, this is fucking incredible. You asked me about it.
Let's just explain what it is before we go any further. So as I said, it's a top-down Grand Theft Auto Original 1 sort of playing game. So you're controlling a character. The end of the first one that's unlocked is a drunken Santa, which is just awesome. And he's got at the beginning of your run, he's got basically just the ability to sort of do a bit of a dash and can kick.
Yep.
What he can also then do is hijack cars. And pretty much any car, essentially, like any car that's,
It's not instantaneous though. Not like GTA 1 had very instant carjacking.
So you've got I'm playing with controller. I don't know what the keys are on.
I'm playing with controller as well.
So you hold down a face button. I think it's Y from memory, and over a period of 2 to 3 seconds, I think it probably takes. That will. You
don't need to hold down the Y button. You just press it.
Oh, you just press it. Okay.
And it starts the bar, and then when the bar fills, you get in the car and drive away.
So when you get in, so you drive away. And then you're just driving it like you would any sort of top-down car game you've played in the past. You've also got, and the main goal, is a piece of slightly dark thing of saying, is to basically do a shitload of damage, run people over, make cars explode, running, and then once you start to, well, not even once you start knocking a few people over, the police get a bit upset with you and start to come after you.
Mm.
And the idea is to survive 20 minutes.
Yep.
So, and basically, as you're going up through the wanted levels, you go from regular police to 3 levels. FBI. I don't know if it goes any further than after FBI for 3 levels.
Yep.
Then the military come after you. I think it's the
Yep.
military, or there's a third level. What's after that?
I think it's more National Guard sort of army-ish.
Yeah, so it's army. So it's not. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, so and then basically you just got to survive for 20 minutes. You can get out. You can get out of your car. Your car will get damage done to it. You can pick up guns, and you can fire them. I'm not too sure that is a mechanic that's particularly easy to grasp in terms of controlling where you shoot. I find that quite tricky at the moment to really.
It's sort of a typical dual stick shooter, really.
But it's not though. I don't think it is. It doesn't seem to. You can't control where that shoots sometimes. I don't think you can. You seem to have its own lock-on thing. But anyway, I'm not. As I've only played it for literally an hour, if not less, just to get an idea of it. During the runs, you are picking up money, which is part of the roguelike concept. You are got the ability to pick up other power-ups, like other guns and other bits and pieces like that. And you also got, I don't know, there's literally no tutorial that I remember seeing.
No.
But they're on each, like in each sort of, not even each level, but in the city, there are upgrade people. I don't
Dudes.
know, dudes.
Yeah, just a dude. He's like a black market dude.
Yeah, so you can basically run, if you run into him or walk up to him, you can upgrade and either have pick up a different gun, upgrades buffs for your car, which just lasts for that run.
Some of them only last for that car.
Some of them only last for that car. Yep. You can like armor plating, that sort of thing, lasts for that car. If you get out of that car, you've lost it in the next one. What else is there? Like there's a thing to make you aim better and have more ammo, which has never been a problem in terms of ammo count. Has never been an issue.
Yeah, it's weird because you don't actually have ammo on any of the guns, so I don't know why it says more ammo. It's weird.
Which not too sure what that's really actually about. What else can you pick up? Money main, I think they call it.
Yeah, it's like magnetize, get more money, you can take more damage, deal more damage.
Yeah, that sort of thing. So, and they're all just inside that run. At the end of the run, you either get to that 20-minute limit, or you basically die.
No, you get busted.
Busted, yeah. In other words, you essentially run out of health, but you get busted.
Yes.
Completely busted. And at the end of that run, you've then got this stats essentially of how many cars you blew up, how many were police, just stats, how much damage you did, how much time you lasted in that particular run. And then as a result of that money you've collected, you can then buy buffs, which I assume actually are between their permanent buffs you can do. And I think
to that
character. And they seem to have levels associated with them too. I think on a couple of them they get more levels. But you can also get you can also buy starter gear, I guess, for want of a term. So when you start, you've got basically nothing. But I've just recently got enough money to buy a shotgun, so I'll start every run with a shotgun now.
Yep.
That doesn't prevent me from changing it to other guns during the runs, but that's what I'm going to start with. And that's probably that's essentially the mechanics of it. You just use all those equipment and those gears and those tools to try and last 20 minutes. While you're doing that, you are as you get more and more up that rank of wantedness, there are going to be cop cars coming you from every direction to try and stop you, and basically they're trying to essentially destroy your car. They are not particularly they don't mind collateral damage. Is probably the way I'll phrase it.
Yeah.
Is they will obviously do everything they can to stop you, but if they take out half a dozen pedestrians on the way through, doesn't seem to worry them. So it just seems to be part of the process of stopping you is taking out other pedestrians and stuff like that. it can get like your car can end up with blood all over it, and it's the visuals of what this game is showing is way above what Grand Theft Auto was one back in the day
Yeah.
was. Um, there's some really nice effects when cars blow up.
There's
There's
a
no,
perk for doing more blood damage and more splatter
yeah,
damage,
yeah. So
which is nothing. It
no,
just means, hey, more blood shit's falling
more,
out.
yeah. So um, and I think though the only thing I would say that's tricky about the game is because of the top-down nature of it. Sometimes it's hard to know that you're about to drive into a wall, and it doesn't
Yeah.
really show you that much. So you'll just drive into something, and all of a sudden your car will just stop with it run into a wall, or you think you're about to drive on a road, and in fact you're underneath it, and you drive under an underpass sort of thing. So
Mm.
it can be a bit tricky to sort of know where you're going because it's not really because it purely is top down. You've got no frame of reference for other things moving around. So that's the only thing I would say against it. Is it makes it a bit tricky to see sometimes where you're going based on that. But yeah, that's probably the only negative so far. And it is, I don't really know how the shooting mechanic really works. It does not appear to be to me to be a true twin stick shooter where you're controlling the direction with one and shooting with another kind of thing. Because you are driving with the right thumbstick, so I'm not too sure how the
Yeah.
aiming works with the gun. But as I said, I'm only playing for like an hour. Um, but yeah, and the game music's pretty good. As I said, the visuals are really quite impressive. Um, and it just gets bonkers after a while. You'll have half a dozen cars chasing you. You'll be trying to run,
Half a dozen.
yeah,
Fuck.
on screen at one time with everyone else, coming in from elsewhere. You'll drive into other cars. You'll be driving over people, and they're bloody splatting all over the place. Um, and cars will just blow up. You realise your car's about to blow up. You jump out of your car. Now you're on foot trying to get out of the way of not being run over by police cars, and you're trying to shoot them as well to damage them and stuff like that. So it gets pretty full on the more you obviously the longer your run goes, as you can imagine. But it's a game that I would play in very short chunks. It doesn't have a lot. Like once you've done two or three runs, you probably go, that's enough for tonight, and move on to something else. But it does have the upgrade mechanic that once you like not upgrade mechanic, sorry. Progression seems to be as you said, you unlocked all the characters are unlocked, and you got to have certain goals to get to each one of those. I
Some
can't
of those
remember.
goals are fucked.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I think there's one like every like there's prams around the place as well, and if you run over them, and which is as I said, this game is a bit a bit off. But I think the thing that like what you're doing is off. The way it presents it is a parody. Like it's not.
Oh, yeah.
It's completely satire. So it's not as if this is not Carmageddon like, even though it's got some similarities
It's
with
not self
Carmageddon.
serious.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so it's just a bit of it's mindless fun really.
Mm.
But there's a little bit of tactics to it in terms of how you escape and stuff like that. The amount of times I've seen the police cars chasing me just drive off and drive into water and stuff like that, and slowly it's just so as I said, they're not particularly skillful in some of them, but yeah, it's an absolute it's really fun to play. I think in short bursts for me, but that's just me. But
I
um,
played it in slightly longer bursts. To me, it's the sort of game that like a current affair would hook it, like sink its hooks into. And
oh
it's like,
yeah,
oh, it's a crime simulator.
yeah,
It's like, fuck off, it is.
no, exactly. That's what I mean. As I said, that's what I'm saying. It's gonna draw comparisons to game like Carmageddon, like the original Grand Theft Auto, which did attract an awful lot of
Oh, yeah.
negative attention for that kind of stuff. But I think the way this presents itself, not just in the game when you're playing it, but like that screen art, like that does not scream seriousness to me with that cover art we're looking at there. So yeah, it's just a fun game to play. Um,
Just wait till you're able to get into tanks, man.
oh, okay.
So the one of the things they made, like the one thing I'll add on is that to me, there's a really intelligent design decision in that any adversarial vehicle takes way less damage than yours does. So when you're getting
Mm.
into tanks or the troopies that have a cannon on it and stuff like that, they take way more damage than the actual ones, the other cars in the environment. Like when you start getting into tanks, you can take out the opposing tank in like maybe 2 shots.
Mm.
But when you're driving the tank, it can stand up for a fucking long time.
Yeah, yeah.
So the cars are not particularly fragile, but there is a sense of fragility to a point when you're on foot. Now you can obviously improve that with getting buffed through the upgrades and stuff like that, but you are still relatively survivable
Oh
in
yeah,
a way that
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And they start bringing in fucking jets and shit and start dropping missiles and bombs and stuff on you.
Yeah,
and if you're smart enough to hide between buildings, they'll just fly into the side of buildings.
Yeah.
Which is real fucking stupid.
Yeah. I mean, like if you're on foot, you can survive a lot longer than you think you should be able to survive on foot.
Oh yeah.
So it's actually, yeah. As I said, they've got quite a few little design choices in that game that are quite good and make it.
One of the biggest surprises so far of this year.
Oh yeah, absolutely, for sure.
I would not have there were a couple of articles, like Kotaku was the main place that had an article about like, hey, GTA's a roguelike. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, fine. It was like less than $10 when it came out on launch. I'm like, fine, Margaret, I'll buy it. I'll check it out on the Friday show at some point. Well, I'm sure it'll be all right for a bit, and then I'll leave it. Yep, no, I've put like you said, about 8-9 hours into it. I've got all the characters unlocked. Now I just need to survive the nuclear bomb.
Yep.
But oh god, it's really quite chaotic and really quite fun.
Yeah, so give people watching on the YouTube, and we can have a look at the sense of it. So you said I'm trying to figure out. Must be.
That's an old shot.
That's an old shot because that's more isometric than the current one. That's for sure.
And the UI is very different.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a bit more like the view you're playing from, but still your top UI is different.
I'm not sure if it was in early access for a period and then came out, or if these are just development shots. But yeah, very different.
Yeah.
And you can actually destroy some of the buildings.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, when you start getting explosive weapons, man. Whew,
yeah, that's actually cool.
Like, you know the fences around like parks and shit?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you get the explosive weapons, you can destroy those and get money out of it. And it gets a bunch of decent money.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, those screenshots weren't anything like what it currently looks like now, which is so yeah, as I said, we'll try and do.
I think a checkout of some kind is warranted for this, even though I did it on that Easter Monday stream.
Yeah,
I think you playing it with me, sort of guiding. Yep. But goddamn, that's fun.
Yeah. Lightyear Frontier is the other game that's on both of our lists. So yeah, we've done 2 videos of this. It's going to go back to it's going to be our one of our series that we're going to try and hopefully keep going. This is like, I mean, you're probably going to get more out of what we're in the videos than what we get out of this sort of discussion, but it's basically you're playing in a mech, which I'll just scroll down a bit further. You're in a mech. You can get it on foot and do a little bit of work, but your main focus is being inside that mech, and you're collecting resources, you're putting resources into machines to make other stuff, and then using that other stuff to progress through the game in terms of upgrading your mech and making other construction buildings. And you're also then using upgraded mech gear to clear the environment of environmental issues, like the one we've got. We've only seen 2 types, and that is noxious weeds and noxious slime. And we've gone through 2 levels of that, so we need an upgraded vacuum thing to suck up the noxious weeds, and an upgraded hose to actually wash away the noxious slime. So that's what we've seen so far. There does seem to be a bit of a background of a mysterious building in this area that is, it would appear, slowly getting unlocked as we progress through clearing each of these areas off, but we've not done all of 8 of them, 7 of them.
There's 8 areas, but I think we have 3 more left to do to open that door, and then there's 2 environmental areas that are on the map, but right now we can't access.
We can't access them because they're either but they're behind something we can't simply get through, and there's also one that appears to be an island area, but the mechs don't like water. In the
No, they do not. I found
So-
that pretty quick in that checkout video.
Yeah, so you go too far into water, you basically the game just resets you and puts you back puts you back a bit. But yeah, like it's an enjoyable game. Like it's a bit whimsical versus this more full-on automation games like Satisfactory and Factorio. So yeah, it's a bit more, as I said, whimsical on that. It's a really good-looking game. It's got some really nice effects, especially when it's got a day-night cycle. And when it's sort of doing the sunset and sunrise stuff, the sun effects are really quite impressive and look quite nice. It's got this character who's not actually in that picture, I don't believe.
No, they're not in the.
No.
Piper's not in the key art.
Piper's not in the key art, and this thing that is just talking to you. There was an option added to a post-launch release patch that reduced this thing's chattiness. You'd obviously obviously caused many people to shit, so they tuned him down a bit. He's not too bad. He does talk every time the new day starts. He says something that seems to have no bearing to what happened the previous day. And you'll sort of talk about some of the stuff you find in the world, like these ruins and stuff that you find, which I assume are connected to the background lore of the whole game. It's in early access. It has been in since about early March. It's on Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass and on Steam. They don't have a time frame at the moment for any like a full-on
1.0.
1.0 stuff. I think they're just doing patchwork at the moment, essentially, on the game because it's only just come out. But I'm just checking now to see what they've been saying.
Our current plan is to spend about a year and a half in early access.
Okay, so that's a fairly lengthy time.
So we're probably talking October-ish next year where it actually comes out.
Yeah, mid to late next year if they stick to that time frame or that time window. It seems to have done very well. Like it seems to have sold quite a few. So, what have I just done? Yeah, so it's looking.
Also, fuck Piper.
No, 100%.
That, like you said, they don't have the verbosity slider for it, but god damn it, the voice acting on that thing is awful.
Yeah, it's just really grating voice acting.
It's the one negative thing I can say about that thing.
Yeah,
about this game.
About it is that like you're building. It's got a lot to do. Like it's taking a lot from Satisfactory and Factorio and stuff like that in terms of what you're doing. There hasn't been. I don't think there will be conveyor belts. I don't think that's going to be a part of the game. Maybe it will be. Maybe it's not at the moment. It isn't. You're building like a homestead that you can not really do much. You can't do anything interior to that.
No.
But you can make it level up by putting
the comfort level.
Decoration around increases its comfort level, which is a bit of an odd thing because you don't. It's just I don't know. Just seems really kind of.
And we don't really plan the placement of the decorative items particularly well. We just dump the shit.
We just put them as long as they're in range of what we're trying to do. If we put it there, that'll be fine.
Except for the football field we made.
Yeah, the football field was good. There's farming mechanics like you put down plant beds. You then plant seeds, you then water them, stuff. It's got a lot of those mechanics in it, and it's not what's the word I'm looking for? It's not onerous. What you're doing moment to moment is not onerous. It's also most of the resources, for the ones we've found so far, they all reset every day. For the most part, you can feed the local wildlife to improve the volume. I think
respawn rates or whatever.
I think it's the volume you get each time. I think is improved by that. So yeah, it's got a lot of little mechanics that are quite good. It's 1 to 4 player, which obviously just sells, but you can play solo without any problems at all. And you can up to 4. So yeah, it's kind of neat. It's a different version of that type of game compared to what I'm playing with Satisfactory, which is a way more focus on the building of the actual of everything. Whereas this, you just place a oven down and feed it materials to make something else, and they just pop out basically.
Mm.
Whereas this Fat Factory's got the resource nodes and the belts to transport materials. This is just you pick them up, you take them here, you dump them in something else, and something else a minute or two later comes out with something what you're after, sort of thing.
The mechs fall down real good.
Yes, the mechs do fall down real good. They do. They're not particularly real. I do like the sound they land when they jump and they land on something. It's a very satisfying thud
Mm.
that they make when they land. But yeah, they do tip over quite easily. It must be said.
Yeah. Well, I'm too lazy to do something like this. So that I'm prefacing this initially. But I think it'd be funny to try and get a cumulative count of how many times I've fallen over and how many times you've fallen over, and who has the most. I think I'm still winning.
You might be, but I think last session I think I might have beaten you. But,
Yeah. Oh, you definitely beat me on the yeah.
yeah.
But man, it's that thing where they fall down in a way that you'd sort of expect.
Yes.
But
yeah.
it's also really funny when it's mostly funny when it happens. But sometimes when you're trying to get somewhere and you fall, it's like fuck you.
Yeah. No, it's a bit of a case of falling, I can't get up kind of a stuff. But it is really.
You're basically a fucking turtle once you fall over.
Oh, exactly. And all you can do, once you're out of the mech, you can basically flip the mech over and he tries to land on his feet and away you go again. Sort of. But yeah, like it's really neat. It is really neat. And the last game that crosses over with between this is Super Video Golf. This game's been out for a while in early access.
No, it's been out proper since February last year.
No, February last. I thought it was in early access for a bit. Okay. And it is.
How the fuck did you find out about this?
So I found out about it because I saw an article on PC Gamer, I think.
Okay, so we both saw the same article then.
Saw an article where they've just put out this big update that makes it really, really good again, or makes it.
And there's a career mode now.
Career mode in it or something. So which was news to me because I didn't know the game even existed until I read that article. So this game is it's golf. It's proper golf. It's not like a silly version of golf. It's not mini golf or anything like that. It's just straight up golf.
No, there's like semi mini golf courses in there though.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
And there's like pitch and putt too.
But it's basically an old version, sort of representation of how golf was played on video game, like PCs and consoles in the 90s and early 2000s sort of thing, in terms of the nature of how it's presented and stuff like that, and the pixel art graphics is homage to that again, to that way that game was, what that sort of would look like back then. But it's actually a pretty damn solid golf game. It's actually really solid. You've got a profile that you can create at the beginning. I had lots of problems when I first started the game up. It played in a window that was like that big, like it was like 320 by 240 was its resolution. Like it was really, really small. So it took a little while for eventually to figure out to get it to go full screen, all kind of stuff.
Alt-Enter is your friend there.
No, it wasn't that. It was literally
Was that not working?
No, it wasn't. It was not going to play full screen.
Oh, that's weird.
It was really kind of odd. So like the maximize button it wasn't even a thing. I couldn't even tick it.
Oh fuck!
It was just really odd. It was really odd what it did. Anyway, so I
got. I had the same thing happen on stream, and I just alt-entered and it full screened up. I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. So you've got and you get a profile. I tried to create a new profile, and that crashed the game every single time I did it. So it's obviously got some issues. Yep.
Fucking hell.
So yeah, so it's very odd. But in terms of you've got the 3-button mechanic to start the swing, set your power, and then set your direction. There's a half decent tutorial in it that just goes through very much the basics of the UI, what you're looking at. You earn XP for pretty much everything you do, for the most part. That's leveling up your character, and it's used for matchmaking, I think, because it's all online this as well, which is really neat about it. and it's got leaderboards and stuff like that.
Mm.
And when you get to, I was reading on the discussion page, the at levels 15 and 30, you get a bump in your distance on your clubs.
Oh, okay.
So
There is some stat, but all
there
right.
is
I was wondering
some
if there were stats and shit.
there is some stats behind it, but once you get to level 15, you get a boost in distance, and again at level 30.
Okay.
So but I think between those times it's pretty much the same all the way through,
Mm.
what I can tell. You've got the standard things. You've got wind, you've got spin, you've got all things you would expect. The visuals of it are hopefully this will be show off decently enough. Let's have a look. Yeah, there's a classic one of how it looks. It's
Mm.
really interesting how when you oh, that's the only screenshot. Fair enough. Okay.
I mean, in fairness, that's pretty much the only screenshot you need. That
Pretty
shows
much
exactly what this thing is.
Exactly what this thing
The
is.
spawning and despawning of the holes is fucking cool.
I was actually just going to that. So when it introduces the new hole when you're changing a hole, I don't know how you even describe. You have to see it on video to really get an idea of it.
Mm.
It sort of starts at the green end. The flag is there, then the world sort of just spawns in from the bottom and around. It's really hard to describe without you have to visually see it do it. It's actually
How
really.
many rounds have you played?
I've only played one.
Okay, I was going to ask if you knew if it was procedurally generated or not, because I only played the front 9 on the Friday show.
Yeah, so it's got So I played I think just the first course, and I think it's an actual set course. Like I think I'll because you can't have with an online game you can't have it be procedure generated. It has to be the same for everybody. Otherwise,
Yeah, okay, fair play.
it wouldn't work from that perspective. So pretty much what you got, top right hand corner you've got your map of the overview of the hole. Top left hand corner is your drive and how far that will hit. Your pin distance in the middle. The surface you're currently on. Bottom left hand corner you've got wind direction. It does say in the tutorial that that's only going to have a limit of, what did it say, 0.3 to 3.5. Like it's got a limited range of how windy it's going to get, which is interesting.
Oh,
It's actually quite.
I didn't pay attention to that part.
Yeah, it's only like up to 3.5 kilometers an hour, like in kilometers anyway. And you also got your score and stuff like that as well. And it's just, like when you hit the golf ball, it does the same thing. It does a sort of a cinematic shot of the ball goes over the view and stuff like that. You've got the
Get a little explosion under the ball if you hit it well.
You hit it well, yeah. So that sort of stuff. You get, as I said earlier, you get XP for doing good shots, landing on the fairway, getting close to the pin on approach shots, birdies, pars. No gimme, which is pretty much every time you get that every time, just about.
Yeah, because you actually have to set that.
Okay, I just started playing, so I didn't even. It does appear to have a few different types of game types. Like you've got standard stroke play, but I think they've got also other types as well. But I haven't really dug into this, but there seems to be some sort of leaderboard stuff and how that would work, so I'm not really sure. I played the first course and got a 58 on it.
Okay.
Which is, I think it was 58. No, that wasn't. Yeah, it was 58.
I got like 29 or 31 on the front 9.
Yeah, I think I got about that, and then I got maybe a bit less. I think I might have got 27 or 28, and I got yeah. So it's a pretty good, solid golf sim. It's not sim. Sim's a bit not overstating it, but it's a pretty good simulation of golf without being way too serious. And it's really quick to play. That's the one thing I like about it. It moves quickly between the shots. There's no commentary to say how well you played that shot, other than the occasional, "Yay, well done."
Great shot,
and just some very basic stuff, which is classic arcade stuff, because that's all they could really do back in the time in terms of voice stuff. Is just really brief chirps of encouragement of how you've done, and stuff like that.
But what do you call these? These are like vector-based polygons.
I think so. I think it's sort of vector-based stuff. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Because it's definitely not voxels.
It's not voxels, no. I think he's probably...
Yeah, like literally on the Friday show, I got to like the 3rd or 4th hole. And before I booted it, I noticed you either had it on your wish list or I had bought it. And I'm like, 3rd or 4th hole, I sent you the message like, we need to look at this.
Yeah, no, it's on my wish list. I'll buy it tomorrow and I'll look at it. So that's how I responded. So
yeah.
So I had not seen it. And it's only
It's like
$6.
$11.
$11. So just back, Maniac was only like $8 or $9.
Mm.
And yeah, Super Video Golf is even less. So
13.19 right now.
yeah, Australian would be that. Yeah, and Maniac I think is even less than that if I recall.
Um,
Maniac is wait for it.
$6.75.
675. That's 10% off currently. So that's all Australian price. So your local currency will vary.
Yeah, the local currency from New South Wales or Victoria.
Or in other countries is what I was referring to.
I know. I'm just being a dick.
Yeah, you do it so well.
Successful. Bang. There's a few golf games that have hit the old radar. Like there's a golf game called 4D Golf that came out in the last couple months, last couple weeks, that seems to have some sort of time manipulation element to it. Like looks really interesting, so I grabbed that. And Turbo Golf Racing has hit 1.0. So like a few different takes on the old golf has all come up at once. Like between Super Video Golf getting its career mode and then, like I said, 4D Golf, Turbo Golf Racing. It's almost like we could do a proper golf video for like 2 hours.
Yeah, we've got enough golf ones to do it on. Now, you've still got the pure sim ones on the like 2K, whatever they are.
Yeah, the PGA Tour games that are now just 2K. Yeah, that most recent one's come out on Game Pass now.
Yeah, so you've got if you're into golf, you've got a lot of options. And all of them will be so different from each other, which is really kind of good to see. But yeah, that is all I have on my list of games. So let's go on to your list since you've got some different ones as usual.
Yes. So I am halfway through my holidays.
Hey.
But at least the back half of this list is literally the first week of holidays. So usual. Balatro, what a shock. I'm at about 50 hours on that now. I've finally found some games to sidetrack me from Balatro, which has been nice.
Yep.
Mike is playing a decent amount of it as well.
Yes, I've seen that.
It is really funny. I'll just like be playing something that comes up. Mike's playing Balatro. I'm like, yeah, well done. Paul's playing a shitload of Tekken 8, and I don't know what to think of it. I kind of want to challenge him and see how we go, but no. So yeah, Balatro, great. Manami Lane.
Oh, yes,
I have now since finished Manami Lane.
Mm-hmm.
We played through about a good 40% of the game on the checkout at least.
Oh, okay, we played through a bit of it.
It's only like 5 or 6 missions.
Oh, really? Okay.
So quite short. The last mission literally gives you access. It's like, here's all the buildings, go nuts.
Okay, yep.
So you end up having a fair decent amount to manage in that last mission, but it still maintains its sort of coziness and pleasantness in the actual playing of it and the building and the management. And you get cyclists that you can click on and technically high five. You click on the cats to pat them. You find this little guy.
Yep.
And you get money for it. And it's super nice and super pleasant. There's not much more really to say about it, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Pacific Drive, I have now since finished.
No, nice. Okay.
It took a bit of done. This has been. I think I enjoyed this more than a lot of the reviews I saw. But that just, I don't know, weird. There were a couple annoying sort of adversarial elements in the environment that did sort of annoy me a bit. There's these things called bubblegums, which are like little floating orbs. Mm-hmm. And they'll shoot out these little suction cups on your car, which you think, they can't stop me. Yeah, they can. It can like jerk your car around real hard, which I'm like, fuck you. They're the most annoying ones. But I still really enjoyed it. I think perhaps having a bit more of a guided, maybe a recognition of, you haven't seen a lot of these items, the resources. So here's where to find them. Mm-hmm. Would be nice, because there's at least a couple of upgrades I didn't get because there was at least one resource that I just couldn't find in the world particularly often.
Yep.
But yeah, so there are a couple. I think I got all but maybe 4 or 5 of the upgrades because there are a couple of anomalies to scan that I didn't find, and the resources I just didn't know where they were.
Yeah. Okay.
So I only missed about 7 of the achievements in the 43 hours-ish it took me to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Which, cool. There's some great achievements though. It's like literally complete a run of 3 junctions without any panels or doors on your car.
Okay.
So if you drive through radiation in that situation, you get a bit hurt.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And there's like get through the gateway with all 4 wheels off the ground, finish a run with constantly at low fuel. There's just some really clever achievements on it. And I think it might be one of my favourite survival games, possibly my actual favourite survival game, because I really enjoyed the overarching narrative and that progression through that narrative. The environment is suitably dangerous without being completely fucked. Even like the really difficult or dangerous environments aren't just completely messed up and completely just overbearingly so, which is it's just enough danger to be, oh shit, I need to be on my shit and not stepping out of line or not getting too crazy here. And the resource gathering and repairing of the car is just weirdly pleasant and enjoyable. There's a sort of meditative quality to get your repair putty, get out the car, and just go blah, and repair the car. I really enjoyed it. Whether you're not, I don't know how much you'll enjoy it, particularly as it gets to the mid to late game.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The thing you've described to me is that it's all environmental stuff.
Yeah.
There's no enemies coming after you trying to shoot your gun at you and trying to kill you.
No.
So I think if there was, I wouldn't go anywhere near this fucking thing. Would not appeal to me at all. But I think as it's environmental, it's got some appeal to me. Now I'm not saying I'm going to spend the 45 hours you did on it, but it's something as a result of that, it's more on my. I might have a look at this have a look at this potential list rather than not going anywhere near it. So the concept of it sounds really neat for sure.
Yeah.
Bit of a different twist on the survival mechanic is you're not trying to survive, you're trying to survive with a car, which is just interesting.
And there's actually like I really dug the story behind it. Like there's actually a purpose to going out, having the runs in the car. Yeah, I'd spent a few runs just gathering resources, but the actual working your way through the actual story and the moments that happen in that story, even though you're this silent protagonist, you're in a car that has way more personality somehow than a car even should, but it still is sort of a personality-less car.
Yep.
But you get some really interesting characters that are talking to you and interacting as you're running these environments, which you don't really get from your typical survival game.
Yeah.
Like Minecraft has an end goal and like survival elements to achieve, but most of Minecraft's popularity is through the random building.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Whereas this, there's that gathering of resources and building of equipment and things like that, but that's not the main draw. Although it is real funny being able to put like a jumping mechanism on a car so that when you feel like it, you press a button and the car jumps. Or you put an auto handbrake, so anytime you take pressure off the seat, it automatically puts the car in brake.
Okay.
Which is cool. But yeah, I really dug this. It was one of my favourite things so far of the year. Speaking of, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. I have now finished it.
Oh, neat. Okay.
Took me about 20 to 22 hours to get through it. The credits are fucking long.
No, they was on an Ubisoft game.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought something like this would be as long as it was, but god damn it. I ran it the quick scroll, and it still was a good 5-10 minutes. And there was a terrible rap song over the end of the credits too. That was doing a layout of the plot of the game behind it, which I'm like, this is fucking terrible. I'm not going to say much in the way of spoilers, but there's some sequences that just Dragon Ball the fuck out and are fucking ridiculous, but are pretty good.
Yeah.
The story does have the propulsion to keep you going, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a good story like we've discussed in the past.
Yeah.
The bird that you get, which was a pre-order bonus, you get that as there's an origin to that as well by the end of the game, which is cool. I really enjoyed it from start to finish. The first time through each area in particular, the platforming challenge that first couple of times through each area is really interesting because there's a difficulty and technicality in the traversal, like we've already talked about. When you run those areas a few times after that, a few more times, it gets a bit more of a chore because it is what it is.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out some of the environmental puzzles, some of the secret chests.
Yeah.
Like, there was somewhere it's like, here's an image on the wall that actually gives you the solution, but it just looks like a completely nondescript part of the environmental art.
Yeah, okay.
So I hope you remember this because it's going to be important. I'm like, fuck. I finished it at about 87%.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
So I unlocked all the map. I just didn't get all of the chests and all the secrets and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, okay.
I still think this is one of the best things Ubisoft has put out since maybe AC Origins. Maybe Far Cry New Dawn. I really enjoyed Far Cry New Dawn because I think that's the game that Far Cry 5 should have been. Not this fucking... Well, the cult stuff was interesting, but getting taken out of the action... God damn, that was annoying. There we go. Unidentified drilling object. God, what a wasted potential. What a fucking disappointment. Has real potential from a downwell perspective of, like, you're on a drill that you hop along on, you hop down these spaces. It's like a vertical pit. You're bouncing off bricks in the environment. You're bouncing off enemies, stuff like that. But the hurt box on the actual playable character is drawn in such a way that anything underneath you, fine, whatever. But if anything hits you from the side, even if it looks like it hits the spiral on the drill, you still get hurt. So it's a weirdly fucked up drawn hurt box, which takes so much momentum away from it that it's really just annoying. To the point where I was like, oh man, this looks rad. And I played it, I'm like, no, it's not. The music's really repetitive and it's not particularly great in the first place. It's a bit simplistic graphically. And like, yeah, okay, Downwell was very simplistic graphically, but it had personality and charm to it. This doesn't.
No.
So, yeah. Moving on. Speaking of personality and charm, Arzette and the Jewel of Faramore. So, this was made as an homage to the CDI.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Do you know what the CDI is, Graham?
Yes, that's the Panasonic thing, isn't it?
I think the Panasonic one was the 3DO.
3DO.
This was like an Amiga or Commodore thing.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
It was a CD-ROM based, largely meant to be educational, but it did have some games. In particular, the most notoriously shit Zelda game in history. Nintendo licensed out Zelda for the biggest dog shit of a Zelda game ever made. And this studio, which the studio name on and of itself is fucking amazing when you consider what it is. CDI. Which is great. And it's put out by Limited Run Games. Now, Limited Run Games has also got a USB, I guess, version of the actual CDI controller.
Okay.
Guess which dickhead bought one? Because I'm like, that's fucking cool. So I bought one. It's not out till November, which is even stupider. Whatever. In isolation, this is a pretty decent, sort of solid, classic style platformer. But when you look at it in context as this tribute to the CGI, it's kind of incredible. Like the cutscene characters, portraits look like they were made in Microsoft Paint, much like that Zelda did, the Zelda CDI game did. Has some great exaggerated voice work. There's like a lady in the town who's very much the, oh, I do declare. And gets real worked up and wants these sparkling earrings for you to go and get, stuff like that. There's a great blacksmith in that same tavern that's a moose and has no fingers or thumbs. It just has hooves, and apparently he's a great blacksmith. But it plays way better than it sort of should. It's just a really cool, little engaging platformer. I think if you don't know anything about the CDI, and I only know stuff from video and things like that. It's not like I ever used one, thank Christ. But knowing what it is and how it's that homage, I think that's the value of it. Trying to play it in isolation without even remotely knowing that context is not going to be as effective.
Yeah.
But still very, very cool that someone put this out in the year 2024. Hey, Maniac's pretty good.
Yeah.
Moving on. Another game I played on the Easter Monday stream, I went back to Anomaly Agent because the developers added a roguelike mode called Rogue Agent. So it gives you 30 floors to try and traverse through and punch people through.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good, but god damn is it hard.
Mm-hmm.
It works at least on the normal difficulty, so you lose a bunch of health when you get hit.
Mm.
Frustratingly, there's seemingly no checkpointing or no, like, because you get achievements on 10, 20, and 30th floors, but you actually don't. And the menu, when you select Rogue Agent, it seems like there should be an item for start on 10th floor, but there's not.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I might be done. But the music for this game is still fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. Another game from the Monday show. I have accidentally put like how many hours am I in on this? 22 hours so far just this week. I'm pressing the wrong button. There we go. Pesticide not required. It's an ass game. Kind of like Vampire Survivors, and they make a really clever joke in that there's a weapon that looks like the whip from Vampire Survivors, and it goes, definitely not like the whip from that other game with vampires in it. I'm like, that's pretty clever. But you actually get XP from farming, like planting crops, fishing, stuff like that, and you kill enemies to get coin. And there's a bunch of different frog types. For some reason, they spell frog as frog, so F-R-O-G-E. So you're a frog farming XP. Because why wouldn't you? The shop is a merch ant.
Okay.
So it's a little ant that runs the shop, so merch ant. It's fucking great. There's a dog whose sole purpose is just to bark when you click on it. And there's an achievement for clicking on it 100 times in one run. I have really enjoyed it as an evolution of that Vampire Survivors style game. Where, because of the farming, because of the fishing and everything else, it adds that extra layer of something to do. Which can seem like it puts maybe a bit too much on it. But once you've got the weapons going and you've scaled up and leveled up a bunch of different perks, particularly your crit damage, crit chance, you can just, there's literally an achievement to stand still for 100 seconds.
Oh, okay, yep.
And much like in those other games, if you get yourself powered up right, you can literally just stand still and you have a massive ring of death around you from all these weapons going nuts. But yeah, I dug it. I want you to... This thing's free. I want you to download this and play it.
Okay.
Bandai Namco put out 3 free little, for lack of a better term, sort of tech demos. I downloaded one of the other ones. I deleted it because I didn't bother. And the other one I wasn't that interested in. This, Doronko Wanko, is the game I'm talking about, which sounds like a sex act. But it's Japanese. It's fully Japanese. Like, everything is... It's really fucked because everything in the menus and everything is all in Japanese, so you can't read it. I just guessed. But you're a little Pomeranian, and your whole goal is to walk around this house just messing it up. Like, you walk in mud, you roll around the mud, you shake off the mud, you make a mess, and you're trying to find all the different little Pomeranian faces in the environment. It took me about half an hour, 45 minutes to play through. It's just really cool. It's free. Like, for what it is, it's half hour, 45 minutes of entertainment, and you're a cute little Pomeranian just walking through, shaking your little fur everywhere and making a mess. And you're just knocking shit over. There's, like, buttons that you press that blow up wine in cellars. It's fucking great. It's way better than it has any right to be. I got 2 games left. Go there. But Steve, this isn't out yet. We're talking about Stellar Blade. There's a demo on the PlayStation 5, which I played. I think some narrative creators seem to get the wrong lesson from World War II movies. Because the protagonist seems to be the only person who happens to randomly survive a landing of some type with explosions and shit going off. I don't know how that's the message that got learned out of that. I don't know. In case the key art wasn't obvious, man, this game's hell of booby and arsey. It's all very jiggly and all weirdly unnecessarily sexualized.
Scroll down a bit further. I can't really see much of it on here.
There she is.
Okay, that makes more sense. Now what you said makes more sense.
Yeah. And like in the game, it has some, like, not quite as extreme as Dead or Alive, but it has the Dead or Alive sort of jiggling boob physics and stuff where the boobs will bounce in cutscenes and shit like that, which kind of undercuts really serious scenes that are taking place. Like these cutscenes where someone dies and she stops and her boobs just bounce a little bit. It's like, the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you? This, in some ways, this game is kind of a throwback. But the demo's actually got a fair bit to it. It looks very pretty, graphically, very expensive. I would say it looks very expensive at least. I don't know how that's going to translate sales wise. Mm-hmm. It mixes sort of a very futuristic aesthetic, as you can see from the key art, with almost like an eldritch sort of horror or fantasy-like element with the enemies. Mm-hmm. The enemies wouldn't be out of place in Remnant.
Okay, yep.
For what they look like. It sort of seems to mix character action and Horizon-style traversal with some environmental scanning to find platforms and stuff to grab onto, yellow painted sort of ledges and stuff to where you like to point out where you're meant to go, with something of a Souls mechanic in the parrying, because there's a real tight parry in that you can't just sit there, run up on dudes and just keep swinging. Because they hit fucking hard too. You have to actually parry their attacks, and the parrying window's fairly tight. So you're trying to read the animation. It doesn't give you the big hint as far as when it's going to swing. You just have to read it. And it has like a bonfire substitute, which is the bonfires from like Souls games and stuff like that. But I read it, but in looking at some of the previews, it very much came across like, Nier Automata. Nier Automata was the game that was being mentioned quite a bit. When you play it, you can see. It feels like this South Korean studio, Shift Up. So Sony's putting this out in the West. They've got this South Korean studio. There's been nothing about any other platforms other than just the PlayStation. The trailer for after the boss fight, though, you fight the first boss, you kill it, and then it does this typical demo thing of, here's the trailer for the rest of the game. And it shows off some fucking wild shit. There's like a Dead Space looking sequence. You're surfing a sword down a half pipe. Some real decent switching of environmental variety. There's like a really green sort of greenhouse area. There's a real bombed out, fucked up, rusty sort of weird beach area. I don't know what to make of this thing at all. But I would be very curious if it comes out on PC at some point, because even though I died a lot in the demo and I will die a lot in the main game, I do think it's something I would like to continue playing. But yeah. And lastly, I finally started... Wait, there's no release information on this. What the hell? Oh, who cares? Banishers, Ghost of New Eden, came out earlier this year. It's a new Don't Nod game. The studio behind Life is Strange and stuff like that. Very fascinating and ambitious thing. Sort of combines something of an open world framework, character action-ish, Souls-ish combat, and investigative/detective puzzling. With some morality choices for how you handle the investigation solution. Like whether or not because it's like the title Banisher, like you're a banisher. And ghosts in the environment, you are meant to either banish and get rid of them, or they ascend to go to heaven, or you can kill the person to bring back the love of your life.
Okay.
It's fucking weird. I'm not going to get into how the love of your life is relevant to that, because I think that's something people should see. It's not exactly the tidiest thing. I got up from a conversation early in an inn, and I ended up over the ocean about 1 kilometer away from where I was in midair.
Okay.
And I took like 3 steps and fell and died. So I don't know what happened there. And obviously not as quite as polished as a title that you would think would have either a larger budget or a bigger studio behind them, or a bigger publisher behind them. But for what it is, it's fucking interesting. The voice acting is really strong. I think graphically it looks quite nice. And there's a mechanic, and the concept of the mechanic is that you switch between the alive Red, who's this Scottish dude here. For some reason, like it's 1695, so it's all British voices, but it's in America.
Okay.
Because the Civil War hasn't happened yet, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And Antia is a ghost, and she can see ethereal objects in the world. And there's a nice visual and audio filter on when you switch to her that indicates she's in the dead world. But then when she like dispels ethereal bonds on chests and shit, she looks like she's trying to punch through the earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's weirdly exaggerated. I played about 3.5 hours in one shot, and I don't know what to think yet. Outside of being incredibly interesting, incredibly fascinating, and being very ambitious, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much it's going to hold up. I'm going to keep playing it through this week, this coming week, and I want to see where it goes. But yeah, it's really cool as an idea, at least, and it's Don't Nod have made some really interesting, even if they're not great, like qualitatively, Don't Nod have put their name on really interesting things.
Oh yeah, the concepts they come up with for their games are very unique to them.
Yeah. And like they couldn't even do like old school American ghost investigation without going fucking bananas with it and being incredibly ambitious. I dig the ambition at bare minimum. And Light Year Frontier and Super Video Golf. Hey, those games are pretty cool. But yeah, that's all I've got gameplay wise. I've got some must listens. We'll do them in the beginning of the end, which would I be correct in saying beginning of the end right now?
Can do.
Let's go. There it is. It's going to come through delayed again. What a fuck. Okay. Now, we were going to do this last weekend, so it would be a quote-unquote bit more appropriate, but then, Graham, you got busy, so we didn't get a chance to look at it proper. We're still going to look at it this week, though. April's games. And what we think, perhaps, you should play. Like I said earlier, there's a few games. I don't think we actually said it on recording. There's a few games on here that aren't actually on this list because there's some smaller indie-based games, like Mini Shoot Adventures came out last week, reviewed very well in the few places that reviewed it. And there's a few other games like that, but there's still enough here for us to look at. Biomorph came out on Friday, and I played the demo of that. It's really quite good. I'm very curious to play more of it, but I got way too much to play before that. Children of the Sun is... I played that during the Steam Fest. You're basically controlling a sniper bullet.
Oh, okay, yep.
And it's sort of Hotline Miami, but with a sniper rifle. Like, you're controlling where it goes, the path of the actual bullet and where it goes next. It's super interesting from a perspective of, like, solving this puzzle. And speaking of games not on this list, Broken Roads comes out on the 10th.
Yeah, I was just looking for that. I thought I saw that on another list somewhere, so... Here we go. So PC Gamer have an article up as well about this, and there's games on that list that aren't on this list, so we'll just have to use both of them. So yeah, that doesn't even have it. So yeah, I think it's out this week, isn't it? 12th.
Yeah, it's out on the 10th.
Out on the 10th. So that's out on the 10th. The other one that's interesting is the Harold Halibut game.
Oh, yeah!
That is the stop motion game that's out. I don't actually know who's making that. That's out on the 16th.
Yep, Game Pass.
Game Pass as well, I believe. It's on Steam. You can get a demo now on Steam, which I didn't realise until now. That looks really good visually. I don't know what the game's about. I'm feeling some sort of side-scrolling adventure game. But it looks really, really impressive. Yeah, so it's a bit... Yeah, we've sort of got a... Yeah, multiple lists to get full cover. You've got to go multiple places these days. So,
yeah, that's the hard thing about trying to do like a sort of cumulative list. Look at what we're talking, like the games of the month, in that a lot of indie games don't show up on a lot of these lists.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Which is a shame, really.
Yeah.
Have you still got that PC Gamer article open?
I do, yes.
Maybe we'll look back at that in a sec after we've gone through this and see what's missing. Grounded, if you haven't played it, coming to PC and Switch this week. This month on the 16th.
And the PlayStation.
What's that?
The PlayStation, not the PC. PlayStation.
Did I say PC?
Yep.
I'm a fucking idiot. On the PlayStation consoles
Mm.
and on the Switch, I keep seeing the name Soul Covenant and being really curious about what it is. It's a VR game, so I keep forgetting about that. Tales of Kenzera Zao is the Metroidvania coming out from the studio is founded by the voice actor behind Bayako Siwa.
Mm-hmm.
Which I played the demo of that's really good. I really enjoyed that. What else we got here? On the 26th, there's a few games. Sandland, which again, I played the demo of that. The demo wasn't great, but I read an article that was like, "Don't trust the pretty shit demo. The game's actually not bad."
I saw. I think I might have seen the same article. Yeah.
But I mean, it was interesting. Like, I don't know. Playing it was fun. The combat was fun enough, but there was just like nothing to do outside of just shooting at dudes. And Stellar Blade comes out on the same day.
Yep.
And then Top Spin 2K25. So tennis coming back. Because why wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What did Hangar 13 make? They Mafia.
Yeah, so that's that studio. That's the private division one, part of 2K. Yeah.
So yeah, they're making the tennis game for 2K, and then the Braid Anniversary Edition is coming out on the 30th, as is Sea of Thieves to the PlayStation.
The other big game.
Are you interested in Braid?
No. The big game on the biggest game on 26, all the games you mentioned is actually Manor Lords. That is an absolutely massively wishlisted game on Steam.
Is it massively wishlisted? Is it?
I think it's the second highest wishlisted game on Steam at the moment. So yeah.
Fucking hell! Really?
Yeah, that's what I think I read that the other day. Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to that or?
I it doesn't really appeal to me, but I probably will look into it once it comes out to see how it lands.
Oh, you're right. 2 million wish list. Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's of the games on that day. It'll probably be the biggest one of all of them. In fact, probably even be the biggest of the month actually, in terms of some of them. But yeah, it's been a game that's been in a long time coming, and in the city builder management sort of area, it's been massively, very much anticipated game, that one.
Oh, looking at the trailer, there's like a really there's a depth to the like pathing and all that sort of stuff. There's apparently large scale tactical battles.
Yeah, that's just a bit that doesn't quite appeal to me, is the battle stuff. But yeah, it's been it's been a long time. A lot of anticipation for this one.
Huh. And the publisher also recently just put out Sons of Valhalla, which is a Viking-based sort of action, but also strategy, buildy, management sort of game too. So, anything else there that I missed that you have an interest in?
Yes, I mentioned Harold Halibut, which is not on that list that we just looked at.
No, it's not.
The one that's actually probably most interesting for both of us is No Rest for the Wicked, which is the RPG from the Ori and the Blind Forest studio.
Yep, not on here either. Fuckers.
Not on that one either. This was on was it a Game Awards stream? Where did it first get its first?
I think it was Game Awards, because the time between announcement and the early access launch has been quite short.
Quite short. So I think pretty sure it was Game Awards last year. Yeah, it's a not top down isometric kind of a RPG of some description.
Action RPG.
Visually looks absolutely like on par with the Ori games. So that's coming out in early access on the 19th of April, so not that far away. I'm looking forward to seeing how that one lands. Otherwise, we talked about what else is on this list. Yeah, you talked about Sons of Valhalla. That's already out. Yeah, nothing much here. Another one I had was.
It's frustrating because a lot of video game websites will do their, hey, these big ass games are coming out in April, but then when we look at the list we use, it's like, yep, that's great, but I tell
you. Yeah. Frostpunk 2 is apparently getting a beta in April, maybe.
That I have heard.
Infection Free Zone is a game that I played a while back now. I think it was a demo of it when I played it. It's a city builder of sorts, but it's really interesting in that it uses real-world maps to place its environment in. So
What the fuck, really?
you can apparently play the game on your own, in your own suburb, essentially, with your own streets and stuff.
Oh,
Apparently. What else was there that caught my eye in this list? That's probably the ones that really. I thought that was already. I think Fableton might be coming out of early access or out of 1.0.
really?
I think so. According to this list, unless it's just still in early access, they just haven't bothered to update their list. What's Fableton up to now?
It's been out in early access for nearly a year. I could say it. Man, they're bringing Sky Children of Light from phones to PC.
Yeah, it's one of the ones.
Shit.
It's one of the ones that was on this list. There's quite a few planet tiles. You mentioned that in our chat earlier, as one of the big ones from a city building perspective.
It's almost more. It's like a mix of city building and puzzle sort of thing.
Yeah. There's quite a few. Like the city building genre is obviously now quite big, as you know. So there's quite a few. Most months there's something new coming out in that particular sort of genre. So yeah, there's quite a lot that come out of that. But the ones that sort of I'm looking forward to this month would be, as I said, Broken Rose. I've played the demo of that and really looking forward to that in full release. Harold Halibut just looks really interesting from a visual perspective. And likewise, I'll probably play anything that the No Moon Studios put out. They are the makers of Ori and the Blind Forest and Will of the Wisps. So yeah, next game looks quite impressive from a visual perspective.
Phantom Fury is also out late April as well, which is a quote-unquote boomer shooter. I've been known to enjoy them. Yeah, it's weird trying to find like a good place outside of combing through the Internet Games database.
The only thing we'd have to do is put our own one together, is what we'd have to do, rather than pull it from various places. So that's the only thing we can really do, which is something we may have to think of doing, because going with 3 different articles to find all the games covered is not particularly user.
Yeah, it's not effective.
Not effective for us.
It's not effective or efficient, like.
And doesn't show very well because we've just got this one page that we've got other. Yeah, so we have to think of something to do.
Yeah, we'll have to discuss that. Do we want to quickly glance over May or?
No, I haven't got time. Sorry.
Works for me. All right. Oh shit. There we go. All right. So real quick, must listens. The new aborted album, Vault of Horrors. Western Super Mame, which is a band I'd never heard of until this. See You Tomorrow, Baby. Super heavy, super chaotic. I think you will enjoy the new album from Zombie. Zombi. Basically just sort of heavy-ish, but also synthy music, but no vocals.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So that might be something that you might like. Hideous Divinity with the album Unextinct, and Necroflex. Synaptic Defragmentation, some quote-unquote dub slam. Dubstep mixed with slam, because why wouldn't you? Some great heavy shit in amongst that. There is some other things, obviously, that have been out recently. The new Ingested album's out. I haven't looked at that yet, though. So next time around, probably have more must listens. But yeah, all right, get around it. I'm going to say that probably does it.
Probably.
Unless you got anything you want to add.
No, so hopefully, as I said, in terms of what we're coming up next couple of weeks, we'll do a podcast another fortnight, all things manical. That'll happen. We'll try and do some video of more Frontier, Light Year Frontier. Still think that's the wrong way around, that name. We'll try and do another one of that. I'll keep doing another Solar Factory episode. We're also going to try and do a quick look or a check out of Super Video Golf and Maniac and anything else that pops in our head. So yeah, check out the YouTube channel for those in the coming week or so. But other than that, no, I've got nothing else.
And then twitch.tv/Enemy Starship for Friday Night Fun at least. this coming Friday, and that'll go up on the YouTube basically once I'm done. I don't know. If I get bored, I'll check out things that you might not be that interested in looking at by myself. I don't know. We'll see how things go. I'm on holidays for another week. I could do anything. I could master, like, I don't know, pan flute. I don't see it happening.
It'd be impressive if you did, but yeah, you could.
Fuck yeah. I could master the record. What would be more impressive? Me mastering the recorder or the pan flute?
Either one. Either.
I'll get my niece to teach me. She's like 7.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's played the recorder at primary school. Hey, should we end it?
Yep, we should.
Word. Graham, thank you very much once again for hanging out for a bit to talk about games.
There you go, up. All good.
Wonderful. This is the 8th of April and the 297th episode of the Should I Play This Game podcast. We'll be back in a couple for the next episode of the podcast. And like we said, some video stuff are coming down the pipes. So keep an eye on the YouTube channel for that. And the old podcast apps. Fuck, I need to I keep forgetting about looking and putting the podcast on Spotify.
No,
I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I don't.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Check that box. Work I don't need to do. Yes. Yeah, cool. We'll see you in a few.
Okay.
Peace out, y'all.
See ya. Bye.
Press the button.